Hello and welcome to Granada Reports.
Hello there. On the programme this evening.
Another government, another promise. An ITV exclusive as Olivia Pratt-Corbell's mum Cheryl meets her Home Secretary. So tonight, is there hope for the law that'll force killers to appear in court when they'll be sentenced?
Left in A&E for 39 hours, an inquest looks at how and why Marina died and the Royal Preston Hospital.
A far cry from the Labour conference in Liverpool, the North West farmers calling on the governments to keep their promises.
5 months after becoming world champion, Warrington boxing ace Rhiannon's in the ring again with some fighters of the future.
Welcome to Lancashire Fringe Festival, 15 days of free shows in Preston.
Who needs to travel to Edinburgh? A look ahead to all that free entertainment, and it starts tonight.
And we can expect some heavy rain overnight tonight. We have a yellow warning coming into force at midnight. I'll have all of the details later in the programme.
So first tonight, the mother of Olivia Pratt-Corbell, the 9-year-old schoolgirl shot dead at her home in Liverpool nearly 2 years ago, has hope tonight that the new government is going to back the campaign she's named after her daughter.
You might remember that the man who killed Olivia, Thomas Cashman, refused to leave his prison cell to appear before the judge who jailed him for life.
Well, Cheryl Corbell wants the government to commit to passing Olivias Law, forcing murderers like Cashman to attend court for sentencing. ITV News was given exclusive access earlier when Cheryl met the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, in Liverpool.
Cheryl says the meeting was positive, but she says the government now needs to earn her trust. ITV correspondent Chloe Keedy has our top story tonight.
How are you? Yeah, not too bad.
Cheryl Corbell has shaken hands with politicians before. This time it was in her home city of Liverpool, where she met a new Home Secretary to discuss old promises made and broken by the previous government.
Just over 12 months ago that they said that they would put it through. Yeah, it's still coming. It's just been stopped. Yeah.
They are fighting for Olivias Law, named after Cheryl's 9-year-old daughter. Her murderer refused to turn up to his sentencing and face her family in court.
We were forced to be there for the end of 4 weeks, so why can't they be forced to be there at the end?
Yeah, they're total disgrace. You had that situation and then not even having someone face justice in that way and face a court in the way is just a total disgrace. So we have to change the law.
But they have heard that one before.
So it won't be possible any longer for people like him to take the coward's way out.
Last summer, I went with them to Downing Street, where the Prime Minister promised he would pass Olivia's Law before the next election. Then in opposition, Sir Keir Starmer told them the bill had his full support.
You've told me many times that you can't trust any politicians anymore. Has anything changed on that front?
Not yet.
Trust has got to be built.
Did you believe what she told you in there?
I think she felt a bit of our anger and frustration that this has not been done, and just the fact of how is this ever allowed? I don't think we've had a definitive answer of when.
Can you guarantee we won't be standing here in another year's time having the same conversation?
We can't be. We have to get this through as fast as possible. I just think the family cannot wait any longer. No other family should have to go through this deep injustice. The perpetrators, the offenders, the criminals should have to face the court. They should have to face the families.
What gives you the strength to keep fighting for this?
Olivia doesn't have a voice, so we're Olivia's voice.
She was 9 but had a little fire in her belly, and I think that fire portrays in her mum. And obviously when she has that fire in the belly, that gives us the fire in our belly to keep fighting.
They say although today has given them hope, they are still wondering how much longer they'll be fighting for. Chloe Keedy, ITV News, Liverpool.
And of course, we'll follow any developments on that story. Next, police have arrested a man 2 years after the unexplained death of a woman from the Wirral in Ibiza. 24-year-old Robin Eve Mains is believed to have fallen from a hotel room balcony in the San Antonio area of the Spanish island. British police are now investigating following a probe by their Spanish counterparts. The 27-year-old man from London has been released on bail.
Newly released dashcam footage shows the moment a suspected burglar ploughed a car into a garden during a police chase in Manchester. The car was doing speeds of 50 miles per hour in residential streets near Newton Heath yesterday. It crashed into a fence before the suspect fled. Officers have arrested a 20-year-old on suspicion of burglary and dangerous driving.
Work to rebuild a bridge which caused lots of disruption over the M62 has been completed. For the past 2 weekends, parts of the motorway were closed near Rochdale. The old 2,000-ton bridge had to be demolished for the new one to be built. It's expected to last 120 years. Next, to the woman who died in hospital after being forced to wait in A&E for almost 2 days.
Yes, Marina Young, who was 46, had a spinal condition and asthma but lived independently. She fell ill with a severe asthma attack in June 2022 and was taken to a local hospital, Royal Preston.
But 39 hours later, she was dead. Today, an inquest was told Marina would not have died at that point if her treatment had been stepped up.
Our reporter Emma Sweeney's been at the inquest all day and sent this report.
Well, it was in June of 2022 when Marina Young was taken to the emergency department at the Royal Preston Hospital by her sister Michelle. Michelle is a retired nurse and she could see that Marina, who has asthma and spina bifida, was suffering from a severe asthma attack. Now, there were COVID restrictions in place at the time. That meant that Michelle couldn't actually go into that emergency department, but she handed over a full medical history for her sister. Despite this, 39 hours later, and Marina Young was dead. She suffered from cardiac arrest while waiting in a chair at that A&E department for the necessary treatment. Today, Professor Neil Barnes, an independent expert, gave evidence at this inquest, and he said that Marina should have been treated as a high-risk patient, and for several reasons. She had spina bifida, she was a smoker, she had a low peak flow, and she was overweight. And he said that given that she wasn't responding to any of the treatment, that should have been a cause for concern, and after 12 hours of not responding, that she should have been placed in the ITU unit. Now, today, Professor Barnes told the inquest that he wasn't exactly sure the exact cause of Marina's death, but he thought it could be one of two things. He said it could have been that her body was tired and under stress from that severe asthma attack, and that she hadn't responded to treatment for almost 40 hours, or it could have been that she aspirated. In any event, Professor Barnes told the court that he was satisfied that if the correct measures had been taken at the correct time, that she would have survived at that point, and that she would have gone on to have an 80% survival rate overall. Now, the inquest today also heard from several doctors at the hospital. They told the inquest that there had been a number of changes following Marina's death, and that there had been an investigation, and that had highlighted that there had been an underappreciation of her deteriorating condition. This inquest will continue on Friday.
Emma Sweeney reporting there. Well, next tonight, we've heard from farmers in our region who claim that Labour governments are only interested in towns and cities and not the countryside.
Well, the Labour Party, whose conference in Liverpool ended today, say that's not true. They say they plan to work with farmers to feed the nation.
We've spoken to one farming family who are calling on the Chancellor to back her party's promises with the investments they say they desperately need before it's too late.
Our political correspondent Leisha McNally reports.
Cauliflower's looking all right here. Yeah, cutting up well.
John Forshaw has farmed these fields near Preston for 30 years. 5 generations have worked the land and fed the community. But around them, the political landscape has been constantly changing, and with it, government policies on support for farmers.
Food in general isn't really valued anymore. I think they need to start looking at it more. A guy once said to me, you need a farmer 3 times a day, and you need to eat. We've always been there, and they always kind of think we always will be there. I think it's quite narrow-minded, I think.
From Brexit, the energy crisis, inflation and climate change, the region's farms have weathered so many challenges. It's thought to be one reason why the Conservative vote was slashed in rural northwest seats. Now there's a new government, but John fears old problems will resurface unless there's stability and investment to make the industry more self-sufficient.
Costs, I mean, they can triple overnight. I mean, you look at fertiliser, it went from £300, £400 a tonne to £1,000 a tonne. We'd already got the crop in the ground. Agreed prices, you can't go back to a supermarket and say you suddenly want 3 times the amount. It comes to the point when you can't keep risking large amounts of money to either flood or global volatility. You know, it's too expensive now to grow a crop for nothing. We can't do it anymore.
Here at Labour's party conference, the National Farmers Union has an eye-catching display, keen to grab government attention and drive home their demands. They say £5.6 billion is needed so farms can meet targets to protect the environment, deliver food security and boost economic growth. Those in power here say they're listening.
We'll back our farmers in the fantastic work they do to feed our nation, and we'll work with them to restore nature and stop animal waste, fertiliser and pesticide pollution running into our waterways.
But this conference has also been clear that money is tight. The budget is likely to see cuts across government departments, which means the farming budget could be pared back.
What I'd say to the government now is we see the challenges around the world, whether that be war in Eastern Europe, the Middle East as it is today, climate change taking hold. We have 70 million people living on an island here. We need a plan for how we're going to feed those 70 million people, and that requires investment from the government. Our members need the confidence to invest in their businesses so they can deliver for economic growth and for food security. And at the moment, I think we're at this absolutely pivotal time where government can build the confidence and can say, we're with you, we know what you deliver for the country, or they can walk away from us. We'll judge them on the 30th of October, and that's the date that really is going to demonstrate the government's support for the farming industry or otherwise.
It means as the harvest is gathered, farmers dig in for an anxious wait for the budget that will shape their financial future and the landscape across the northwest. Leisha McNally, ITV News.
OK, time now for the ITV News headlines at 6:30 with Mary.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, leave immediately. The Prime Minister's urgent message to British citizens in war-torn Lebanon. Here, an embarrassing final day at the Labour conference as members vote to reverse the cut to pensioners' winter fuel allowance. And Philip Schofield makes a return to television, this time on a desert island. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
OK, sport now, and Manchester United begin their European campaign tonight. Mike?
Yeah, that's right. They had to wait a week while the Champions League took centre stage, but tonight it is Manchester United's turn. They kick off this season's Europa League competition against a club very familiar to their manager. Erik ten Hag spent 23 years at Dutch side Twente as a player and coach, but tonight his sole focus is beating them in United's first of 8 matches in the new look league phase of the tournament. He says too much is now being asked of players.
There are too many games, it's clear. Too many competitions for the top players. They are overloaded, and this is not good for football. In the end of the day, it's maybe good for commercial, but there is a limit, and players getting injured. It's almost unavoidable. The players getting injured because of the overload from so many games.
Well, meanwhile, the former United defender Rafael Varane has announced his retirement. The 31-year-old joined United from Real Madrid in 2021. Despite an injury-hit spell in Manchester, he did lift the League Cup and also helped them beat Manchester City to win the FA Cup last season. It's a big night in the Carabao Cup as Liverpool take on West Ham at Anfield, while League One Bolton Wanderers will try to pull off a shock result at Arsenal. Bolton haven't had the best of starts to this season, but finally found some form with Saturday's 5-2 win against Reading. So, can they stun the Gunners and make it into tonight's 4th round draw?
Well, I think this is just a game of learnings and enjoyment, really. I think it's great that we've managed to get a big tie. It's great that we can go there and play with freedom, with absolutely zero pressure, which is kind of chalk and cheese to the league, where every game we're expected to win. Nobody will expect us to get anything, but we're going there to be competitive and see what we can do and test ourselves against the very best.
Manchester City have confirmed midfielder Rodri suffered a knee ligament injury against Arsenal on Sunday, but they've yet to put a timescale on his recovery, with fears he could be out for most of the season. City are safely into the fourth round of the League Cup after beating Watford 2-1 at the Etihad Stadium. Manager Pep Guardiola admitted after the game that he'll play a weakened team in the next round because of so many fixtures. There was no giant killing at Stamford Bridge as Barrow were beaten 5-0 by Chelsea. Meanwhile, in League One last night, another win for Steve Bruce. That's 3 from 3 since taking over at Blackpool. They beat Huddersfield 2-0. Now to boxing, and this weekend sees Warrington's Rhiannon Dixon make the first defence of her world lightweight title. She takes on two-weight world champion Terry Harper in Sheffield. And ahead of fight night, she's been gaining inspiration from the next generation of female fighters from her hometown, as Chris Hall reports.
Dixon. 5 months after conquering the world, Rhiannon Dixon is back in the ring with a fearsome competitor. In fact, a whole gym full of pint-sized pugilists and teenage tusslers are showing the lightweight champ they'll soon be fit to fight for her crown.
No, I keep on saying that, like, oh, some of these girls, like, I only started when I was 21, and some of these girls are starting when they're like 5, 6, and they're going to be a million times better than me when they get to my age. But imagine that, I have a picture with a girl now, she's my opponent a few years later down the line.
Rhiannon's sporting journey began in white-collar boxing while she worked as a pharmacist, but she'd prescribed this path over hers. At Warrington's Phoenix Fire Club, they've sparked fresh interest in female boxing with a girls-only class, and today they've a star trainer.
I think it's really good to have her down because she helps what you do on the bags and stuff. I like it because it's like just girls in the class and no boys. It's nice people being the same as you.
I like being at all girls because there's no one just messing about.
He's saying that boys mess about too much.
We have like girls football teams, girls rugby teams. There's girls out there that want to fight, you know, that we want to learn it as well. It's just giving them a space where they can feel confident and it's friendly, and once they fall in love with the sport and start to get that confidence, they can then go to the mixed classes.
Teaching basic techniques and improving fitness, these popular sessions have only been running for 3 months, and some girls have already punched through into mixed classes.
When they come here, it's breaking down barriers and they're building the confidence, and then later on they might even go to a mixed class and then think, oh, well, I think I want to spar, oh, I might want to fight.
Because you know how intimidating it can be just to go straight into mixed classes.
I wish there was something like this when I was younger. I just kind of jumped into a mixed class and thought, oh, I'll just shadow box in the changing room so no one can see me.
There'll be no hiding place in Sheffield on Saturday when she faces two-weight world champion Terry Harper. This was planned for last month until the headline fight was cancelled. I remember you saying that you were really disappointed with your performance when you won the world title.
I'm quite a bit of a perfectionist, so I feel like I've got something to prove with my next fight. And the 2 main events pulled out, so now me and Terry are our main event, so I feel like we've got to put on an even bigger spectacle. She's 2-time world champion, two-weight, and she's going for 3, but yeah, I won't be letting that happen.
She's given her star pupils tickets to see her first title defence, but the WBO belt is one prize she won't give up easily. Chris Hall, ITV News, Warrington.
Yeah, we wish Rhiannon all the very best in Sheffield on Saturday night. As she said there, she only took up boxing a few years ago, and here she is topping the bill on a Saturday night. Incredible.
Brilliant. She didn't start till she was 21, so still time for me. Finally, the old saying goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
In Preston, they're not offering free food, but they are promising 50 nights of free entertainment starting this evening.
Yes, it's the Lancashire Fringe Festival, a celebration of comedy, dance, poetry and theatre, all held at a number of venues right across the city.
Our correspondent Andy Bonner was lucky enough to go for a preview.
When it comes to Fringe, Preston might not be the first city on your list. But there is a wealth of culture here for the next 2 weeks at least.
The day I died was the day my mum gently closed her front door on my wild, demanding face.
At venues across the city, like here at UCLan, 20 shows from comedy and dance to spoken word. It's now the second biggest free fringe in the country.
Initially it was a well-kept secret, but now thanks to predominantly word of mouth, because the stuff that goes on, the acts that are on, are so strong and so good that there's a real electricity around it. It brings a lot of people in. It puts bums on seats, it gives people an awareness, it gives us the chance to showcase what we do.
We have the Edinburgh Fringe, don't we? Why do you need this as well?
Well, so not a lot of people travel to Edinburgh Fringe, a lot of people go, but people don't go that far, and the opportunity to bring the shows to Preston so people living in Preston and Lancashire can come and see those type of shows. I think it's really important to bring that to people who wouldn't ordinarily see theatre.
Damn everything but the circus.
I've been a circus performer for nearly 10 years, and then I was also writing poetry and running creative writing workshops. So I wanted to bring the two together. You will find yourself stretched.
What does it mean to you to come and perform at an event like this?
I think it's so important that there's events like this that are free so that the arts can be accessible and more people can enjoy kind of unusual experimental theatre like this.
45 years I've lived in this house.
Preston's cultural vibe has been somewhat challenged of late. The Lancashire Fringe aims to change its fortunes.
We are a city and we should have a theatre. There's a small one, the Playhouse, which is brilliant, and we do get professional companies coming there. But there's a lot of talent in Preston, a hell of a lot of talent. And there's a lot in musical comedy as well, and it's just never seen.
There's something for everyone, as well as there is loads of commissions in the festival, so there's new writing and new performances, but there's also all different genres of performance, so anybody can find something that they like.
Audiences can pay what they like, if at all. Organisers say they just want as many people as possible to experience the magic of live performance. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Preston.
Yeah, the magic of live performance, standing on that stage, giving it all. It's my idea of terrifying. Have you ever considered stand-up?
I have absolutely not ever considered stand-up. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and cracking jokes and delivering them is just not one. The only joke that I do know is what do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. And it's shocking. It is shocking. So yeah, I'll stick to my day job. Here's Louise.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, good evening. It was quite a cloudy day, 1 or 2 scattered showers around, and it was quite cool and breezy at times. As we move through into tonight, we have a yellow weather warning for rain coming into force at midnight. Staying with us right through tomorrow. We can expect some heavy downpours of rain, which could lead to some surface water on the roads. So if you're travelling, please do take care. Low pressure will dominate our weather through this evening and into tomorrow, bringing some unsettled conditions, heavy rain at times, some breezy conditions. We're bringing in air from a northerly direction, so it will feel quite cool and chilly if you're out and about. So that rain pushing through tonight, quite heavy at times, especially across the eastern areas and east of the Pennines. We could see up to 40 millimetres of rainfall there. Further showers pushing through as we head towards dawn. Quite a murky night. Temperatures holding up between 8 and 11 degrees Celsius. Breezy too, especially across the Isle of Man, where winds will gust in around 40 miles per hour. So a damp, miserable start tomorrow again, fairly breezy with further spells of rain feeding in through the afternoon, slowly starting to sink southwards as we head towards the latter part of the afternoon. A chilly day, highs of 13 or 14 degrees Celsius, but if you factor in that wind chill, it may feel even cooler. So looking ahead for the next couple of days, Friday looks like a decent day, plenty of fine and dry weather, sunny spells around. We will have a few showers pushing through on Saturday. Temperatures slowly starting to recover slightly, highs of 14 on Sunday. Sunday looks like a fine and dry day. We do have a few cool, chilly nights in the forecast over the next couple of days too. That is the very latest. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye for now.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Louise, thank you very much indeed. And I know what to get you for Christmas.
Go on.
A new book on jokes.
Help us out, Santa. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.